Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 6th City Council meeting. I'm calling it to order. As a reminder, we continue to have a remote aspect to our meetings, and both staff and members of the public may be participating in tonight's meeting remotely via WebEx. Deputy Council President Dee Michel is attending tonight's meeting remotely for medical reasons. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I invite you to join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice. Thank you. So we have a very big special business section tonight. We joke around that May is the month of proclamations. So we have almost a dozen, and it is really nice to see so many people in our audience tonight. So we will start with the first proclamation, and I don't actually have Councilmember Joe. Councilmember Joe, the microphone.
Great idea. Fantastic. Noreen Awan is joining us, a board member from the local nonprofit, The Circle. Thank you. Proclamation. Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is an annual celebration that recognizes the historical and cultural contributions of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders in creating the American story. And we celebrate the growing diversity of Issaquah, with the second largest race being Asian American residents, representing 25.5% of our population. Diversity brings richness, opportunity, and growth. And the term Asian American is an umbrella term for the entire Asian continent, which embodies an incredibly diverse and vast group of people, languages, ethnicities, and traditions, with more than 50 different countries and regions included. The term Pacific Islander is an umbrella term which embodies an incredibly diverse and vast group of people, languages, ethnicities, and traditions, with more than 15 different Pacific Island nations included. And whereas we acknowledge those contributions of Asian American groups such as Far East, Southeast Asia, and the Indian subcontinent, and contributions of Pacific Islander groups such as Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. You guys are mean. All these hard words. All right. Polynesia, to our local arts, education, sciences, and to our economic and social and democratic institutions that strengthens our city. Whereas we admit the past and current hardships for Asian and Pacific Islanders and strive to foster inclusion to ensure all people have an equal opportunity to live and prosper. And we must continue to take a proactive stance that seeks solutions to address intolerance and disparity. They are our neighbors, co-workers, friends, and family. And whereas we commit to supporting members in a meaningful way by paying tribute through education, acknowledgement, and celebration within our community, and whereas we come together as a community in a spirit of unity to celebrate the invaluable contributions that enrich our city with Asian and Pacific Islander heritage. Now, therefore, Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, does hereby proclaim May 2024 to be Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Issaquah. I urge the community to join in special observance and celebration of Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage. In witness, therefore, Mary Pauley has hereunto set her hand and sealed the City of Issaquah this 6th day of May 2024. Would you like to say a word or two? Please.
Thank you so much, everyone. As a board member for the Circle, as a Pakistani, thank you so much for recognizing the Circle during Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month today. We are honored to receive this proclamation today and to thank you for your continued support to the organization and the people that we serve. Thank you so much.
You get that?
Get that.
Thank you.
I will be presenting the next couple of proclamations. So the next one is Jewish American Heritage Month, and I would like to invite Rabbi Berry and Nechama Farkash to come up and receive the proclamation. Welcome. For nearly 44 years, every Congress has authorized, and each President of the United States has declared a period of time each year for the celebration of Jewish culture, history, and contributions to the United States. Whereas in 2006, Congress passed a bipartisan resolution calling on state and local governments and the people of the United States to observe a full month in which American Jewish history is celebrated. And whereas the month of May has since been recognized as National Jewish American Heritage Month, a time to honor and celebrate the countless contributions of Jewish Americans, and whereas, while anti-Semitism has been rising at an alarming rate in our country, and many cities are experiencing an increase in anti-Semitic incidents, we must continue to create conditions that allow our communities to be safe, healthy, vital. We offer hope and optimism through the celebration of the vibrant heritage of Jewish Americans, recognizing our community is enriched by contributions of Jewish Americans through the arts, education, and sciences, as well as to our economic, social, and democratic institutions. Whereas we come together as a community in a spirit of unity to celebrate the invaluable contributions that enrich our city, I, Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 to be Jewish American Heritage Month. And I'd like to offer Rabbi Berry an opportunity for some comment.
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. Thank you, Issaquah City Council. For the past 20 years, Issaquah is the place that we called home. In the past 20 years, we celebrate in this city our heritage, together with the many Jewish residents of Issaquah. We celebrated alongside Issaquah mayors, starting with Mayor Eva Freisinger, who welcomed us to town, and the love and respect that the Jewish community, that I am their rabbi, for the last 20 years have received from this city was felt at every holiday, at every event, especially when we put up 20 years ago the menorah on Front Street. It brought in so much love and light to the Jewish community. In these times, when Jewish people and members of the Jewish community are unfortunately verbally assaulted on the streets, and our children in the school district are struggling with some really old-fashioned anti-Semitism, it is so much more valued and important to receive this proclamation this year. Your love and support are very much appreciated. I would like to personally thank the mayor for being proactive in dealing with the many challenges that came up in the past few months since October 7th. May God bless this assembly, continue being a shining light and fulfilling the commandment that God Almighty gave Noah and his children after the great flood, to make this universe a civilized world, a place for peace and safety for all mankind. God bless you. God bless you all.
The next proclamation this evening is for Small Business Month, and I'd like to invite Badur Prisha from Morgan Cosmetics and Melanie Norton from the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Seattle District Director. Thank you both for coming tonight. I especially love it when we get people from the Small Business Administration. This is very cool. Thank you for doing this. So whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year in May since 1963, to highlight the programs and services available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Small Business Administration and other government agencies. Whereas, according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 33.2 million small businesses in the United States, and these small businesses are responsible for 62% of net new jobs created since 1995. Whereas entrepreneurship continued to be one of the best pathways to the American dream, evidenced by the historic small business boom, with a record 16.5 million Americans applying to start a business since January of 2021, including 5.5 million last year. And whereas the city of Issaquah is home to a wide variety of businesses, including the 2024 Small Business Exporter of the Year, Morgan Cosmetics, whereas the city of Issaquah celebrates our local small businesses and entrepreneurs and the contributions they make to our local economy and community, now, therefore, I, Mary Lou Polly, the mayor of the city of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim the month of May to be Small Business Month in the city of Issaquah. And I urge all community members to join in special observance and celebration of Issaquah's small businesses and entrepreneurs. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge, too, that we have our economic development team here. So if you guys want to raise your hand, thank you very much for coming. I'd love to have you in the picture after, but I'm going to turn it over for comments.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to present Morgan Cosmetics today as we celebrate being selected as the SBA Exporter of the Year, 2024 Exporter of the Year. I'm stepping in for Bashir, who's currently at the U.S. Africa Business Summit, and we're actually so grateful that the city of Issaquah for this recognition. It's a testament to a hard work and dedication of our team. Bashir's vision has always been to make a positive impact through small business like ours. This proclamation not only honors Morgan Cosmetics, but also highlights the importance of supporting small businesses in our community. We want to thank everyone who has been in our journey, our customers, employees, and our partners. With their support, none of this would have been possible. In accepting this proclamation, we celebrate not just success, but also the vibrant spirit of entrepreneurship in Issaquah. Thank you to the city of Issaquah for this honor. We look forward to continuing our journey together. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I just want to say congratulations again to Morgan Cosmetics. They are a phenomenal example of the many wonderful businesses that are right here in Issaquah. One of the businesses that, as you heard in the proclamation, creating 2 out of 3 net new jobs, powering about half of the economic power that is in the country. Small businesses are vital to our downtown and to our communities as well. So we appreciate everyone that is here to support small businesses. We also want to thank the small businesses for taking the leap into entrepreneurship. It is not easy for anyone that knows firsthand. It's a lot of work, a lot of heart, and it can sometimes feel lonely when there's so much weight on your shoulders with helping your clients, supporting your employees, and making a business profitable. So I hope that there's a takeaway for the small businesses here in Issaquah that between your economic development department and your partners at the Small Business Administration, you're not alone, and we're here to support you because we want to see you succeed. That's what gets us up every morning. And just a little highlight on Morgan Cosmetics for being awarded as the Seattle District, which serves Washington State and Northern Idaho. They were the Exporter of the Year, but they were also selected as the Regional Pacific Northwest Exporter of the Year from businesses across Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska, making them one of 10 finalists in the nation. So certainly something to be proud of, certainly taking advantage of the 95% of potential customers that live outside of the U.S. and serving those right here in your backyard. There's certainly opportunity that we want to support. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight.
So much. Okay, team, come on up. Our next proclamation this evening will be Councilmember Joe again, Economic Development Week proclamation.
If I could have Jen Hayes come up, please. And Juliana de Cruz. And Farrell. I have the great pleasure of working with this team as the LTAC Chair, Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. I'm very excited by the ideas that they come up with every meeting and the ability to kind of stretch what might be possible and try to find economic vitality avenues that might not have been tried anywhere else, but we're going to try them here in Issaquah. And I appreciate Jen and her team. Proclamation. Whereas the International Economic Development Council created Economic Development Week to increase awareness of local programs and economic development professionals that create jobs, advance career development opportunities, and improve the quality of life in communities across the globe. And whereas Issaquah's economic development professionals promote economic well-being and high quality of life for Issaquah by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas Issaquah's economic development professionals incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And whereas Issaquah's economic development professionals work in a wide variety of settings and topics across our community, including arts and culture, sustainability, transportation, redevelopment, public safety, human services, outdoor recreation, and others. And whereas Issaquah's economic development professionals partner with organizations and other public agencies, including Greater Issaquah Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Issaquah Association, Visit Issaquah, Gilman Village Merchants Association, Issaquah Highlands Council, Port of Seattle, Greater Seattle Partners, REACH, and East Side Cities, to name a few, to ensure a flourishing economy. Now, therefore, Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, does proclaim May 6th through the 10th to be Economic Development Week. Congratulations.
I won't say much, but I thank you all for your support of economic development and our staff. Really, we couldn't do the things we are doing without your support and the entrepreneurs in our community. And we're really excited. We're going to be launching an economic development video this week to celebrate Small Business Month all of May and continue to help our businesses throughout the community.
All right, let's go out here.
Another picture. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Joe. Our next proclamation this evening will be presented by Councilmember Ray, and it is the Public Service Recognition Week proclamation. Thank you, Councilmember Ray.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Pauley. Stephanie, HR Director Stephanie Johnson, if you could join me. Whereas the City of Issaquah employees, elected and appointed officials, and volunteers are instrumental in making our community more sustainable, vibrant, connected, and safe. And whereas by celebrating Public Services Recognition Week, nationally celebrated ever since 1985, we honor the public servants who serve the community and its residents, business, and visitors. And whereas the Issaquah community receives services every day by public employees who serve in a variety of valuable roles, including administration, parks and community service, community planning and development, public works, police, fire, municipal court, finance, executive administrative services. And whereas creativity, diversity of perspective of our elected and appointed officials informs and guides the work of the city and are integral to the quality of services and life in our community. And whereas the effectiveness and efficiency of government depends largely on public employees and volunteers who serve Issaquah's community. And whereas the City of Issaquah public servants strive to provide excellent and timely customer services to residents, businesses, visitors to the City of Issaquah, and City of Issaquah employees, elected and appointed officials, and volunteers work every day to make our community more sustainable, vibrant, connected, and safe. Now, therefore, Mary Lou Pauley, the Mayor of the City of Issaquah, does hereby proclaim May 5th through the 11th to be Public Services Recognition Week in the city of Issaquah, and invites the community to join us in thanking public services, employees, elected and appointed officials, and volunteers for their service and outstanding contributions. Stephanie?
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor Polly. Thank you also, City Administrator Bob Quitz. We have some really fabulous employees in the city of Issaquah, and so I have the privilege of sitting in on a lot of different interview processes, and our number one applicant question is to a panel, what makes you, want to stay here at Issaquah? What makes you work at Issaquah? And the number one answer every time is the people. We really have some really great people that make this city run, and so I'm so appreciative of them. One of the things we've been working on in our employee experience plan, one of the strategic items is how we build our recognition muscle. So these weeks are really important, and we're going to do some fun stuff for staff this week, but we've instituted stay interviews. We're highlighting staff when they hit milestones. We're bringing awareness to anniversaries. We're doing more employee surveys. And we're really doing a lot. I'm of the belief that recognition equals retention. So I'm also really pleased to, report out that over the last couple of years, 2021 to 2023 numbers, we've reduced our turnover by half. And I really think it's all of the things that we do each day to recognize our employees. So thank you.
Thank you.
I say bring everybody up. Matter of fact,
Public Works,
can we do it-
public employees, let's go. Otherwise, everybody thinks we have one public employee. Yeah. Nice, I like it. We'll just stand up behind you. There you go. We'll stand. Yeah, two more. Two more. Nice try. Okay, tighten up, shoulder, turn a little, yeah, there you go. You guys coming up? That's a better picture. Issaquah. Issaquah. Great idea. Thank you very much, Councilmember Ray. And Stephanie, the next up is Councilmember Hunt, who will be presenting the Professional Municipal Clerks Week Proclamation. Member Hunt.
So Clerk Grabowski is joining us virtually, and Clerk Kaiser is here to receive this proclamation. And firstly, I just wanted to take a moment personally to thank you for all of your help with our council meetings, ensuring that we're following the rules and able to do our job efficiently, and also all of your help facilitating community participation in all of our local government processes. I know I speak for all of us when I say we really appreciate what you do. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world and is the oldest profession among public servants. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between citizens, local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas the municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerks serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the profession through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meeting of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments and contributions of the professionals who serve in Issaquah's City Clerk's office. Now, therefore, I, on behalf of Mayor Mary Lou Polly, City of Issaquah, do recognize the week of May 5th through the 11th as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in the City of Issaquah, and I invite the community to join me in thanking the City Clerk's Office for their service and outstanding contributions.
So on behalf of Chris and Tammy Miller, who couldn't be with us tonight, and myself, thank you so much. As you heard, this is a very long-standing role in local government and one that we feel that responsibility for, and we take that really seriously, and I think we're all very proud to be stewards of the city clerk work in Issaquah. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Very kind words from Councilmember Hunt on our Clerks Department. Thank you all. The next proclamation, 7th out of 11th, just in case you're wondering where we are, is Councilmember Hall, and it is the Drinking Water Week proclamation.
Thank you, and I'd like to invite our Director of Public Works, Emily Moon, to come up with me. All right. Whereas for more than 40 years, the American Water Works Association and its members have used Drinking Water Week as a unique opportunity for both water professionals and the communities they serve to recognize the vital role water plays in our daily lives. And whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and drinking water serves a vital role in daily life, serving an essential purpose to health, hydration, and hygiene. And whereas tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, and support for our economy. And whereas the hard work performed by the entire water sector is vital to maintaining and protecting this essential resource. And Issaquah's Public Works Department staff and operators work to ensure the safety and quality of drinking water and maintain the infrastructure we all rely on. And whereas we are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which current and future generations depend. And whereas the Issaquah community is called upon to protect our source waters from pollution and practice water conservation. Now, therefore, Mary Lou Pauley, the mayor of the city of Issaquah, does hereby proclaim the week of May 5th through 11th to be Drinking Water Week in the city of Issaquah, and we invite the community to join us in thanking the public servants that protect and maintain our water systems, and ask everyone to do their part in conserving and protecting this vital natural resource. Thank you very much, and Director Moon, why don't you come up?
I feel like I should have brought a prop so that we could all have a toast, but I just didn't think of it in time. Very good. I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the employees in the Public Works Department, particularly in our water division. Last year, we provided over 1 billion gallons of water to the community, and we did so through 147 miles of water main, 22 reservoirs, 13 booster pump stations. I could go on and on. It's a lot to take care of. They do a tremendous job, and I'm very proud of that work and happy to be an Issaquah resident where I get to drink that clean water. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll be presenting the next proclamation for Correctional Officers Week proclamation, and I'd like to invite Acting Corporal Michael Watson to come and join me, and Police Chief Schwan. Come. Whereas the City of Issaquah's dedicated corrections officers are essential to our justice system, and whereas much is expected from the men and women who every day supervise offenders in correctional facilities, and without whose daily hard work and sacrifices we could not operate. And whereas corrections officers are skilled professionals who must act as counselors, communicators, educators, and experts at crisis intervention, and must protect our safety while maintaining their professional demeanor, often in a very challenging environment. Whereas corrections officers must possess the intuitive sense to resolve conflict and support restorative activities while housing offenders in a humane environment, often to the risk of their own well-being. And whereas all are committed to a common goal, the secure, safe, and humane operation of our jail facility, where employees work to reduce future crime and change an individual's criminal behavior. Now therefore I, Mary Lou Pauley, the Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim the week of May 5th to 11th to be Corrections Officers Week in the City of Issaquah, and invite the community to join me in thanking the city's corrections officers for their service and outstanding contribution. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Council, Madam Mayor, and City Administrator Bobkowitz. The corrections officers in our city are basically often unnoticed. A lot of our citizens don't even know we have a jail. And we have a 72-bed jail in our facility, who on an average has a population of anywhere from 35 to 72. And so on a regular basis, the corrections officers are down there on a daily basis, keeping those in the community safe, attending to their needs, as well as following what the rules of the court are and helping out our community, which makes the officers have the ability to do their jobs better and having somewhere for them to go that's local. And that is a big part of what they do. And they are very unseen. They're in the basement of our facility. People often don't know what they do day in and day out. And I can't thank the council and the city enough for the support that we've seen regularly on a consistent basis for what they do.
I'd like to thank the mayor, chief, and city council for the recognition and appreciation and support you guys show us. Thank you.
Calling Councilmember Hunt back up for Water Safety Month proclamation.
I'd like to invite up Aquatic Supervisor Zach Lisson, please. Whereas National Water Safety Month is celebrated annually through the efforts of several key organizations, including the American Red Cross and the National Recreation and Parks Association, and whereas the City of Issaquah is committed to promoting healthy lifestyles and providing opportunities for community members to engage in safe and enjoyable recreation activities while actively working to create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. And whereas swimming and aquatic-related activities play a vital role in improving physical and mental health and enhancing the quality of life for people of all ages, abilities, races, ethnicities, genders, sexual orientations, and socioeconomic backgrounds. And whereas the Julius Bohm Pool and aquatic programs offered by the City of Issaquah provide a valuable resource for the community. And whereas the Parks and Community Services aquatic teams support a variety of programming, swim lessons, drop-in activities, lap and public swim, facility rentals, lifeguard and CPR classes, and other special activities. And whereas the city's well-trained staff who deliver these programs are essential to the promotion of water safety by providing aquatic activities in a safe, responsible, and inclusive manner that respects the dignity and worth of all individuals. Now, therefore, I, on behalf of Mayor Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim the month of May to be Water Safety Month in the City of Issaquah, and I invite the community to join me in thanking Issaquah's aquatic staff for their service and outstanding contributions to this effort.
I think the mic's off. Here we go.
I mean, I could just be loud. On behalf of the other leaders at the pool, Cliff Evert, Devin Snow, Tammy Chang, and the 60-plus hardworking lifeguards and swim instructors who make this work happen every day, we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you. Council President Walsh will now be giving the Affordable Housing Week proclamation, and this is number 10 out of 11.
It looks like our long-range planning manager, Stephen Padua, is on the way up, so that is fantastic. Thank you. Whereas all people should have access to safe, healthy, and affordable homes within communities that provide opportunity. And whereas the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, defines affordable housing as housing on which the occupant is paying no more than 30% of gross income for housing costs, including utilities. And whereas the Department of Commerce projects that by 2044, King County needs nearly 200,000 net new housing units for households at or below 80% area median income. And whereas studies have found that each $100 increase in median rent results in a 15% increase in homelessness in metro areas and a 39% increase in homelessness in nearby suburbs and rural areas. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated many existing financial constraints for low and moderate income households. And whereas the CDC recognizes safe, healthy, and affordable housing within communities of opportunity as key social determinants of health. And whereas everyone benefits from affordable housing, including the people who reside in these properties, their neighbors, businesses, employers, and the community as a whole. And whereas, united to raise public awareness, people, organizations, and communities throughout King County are participating in local Affordable Housing Week activities to elevate the critical need to create healthy communities with ample affordable housing. Now, therefore, I, on behalf of Mayor Mary Lou Pauley, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim May 12th to 18th to be Affordable Housing Week in the City of Issaquah. The City of Issaquah endorses the goals, objectives, and purposes of Affordable Housing Week, and in doing so, recommits itself to ensuring that our community thrives with opportunity and that all people in it live with dignity in safe, healthy, and affordable homes. Stephen, do you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor Pauling. Thank you, City Council members. As indicated in the proclamation, affordable housing is a very major issue in our region and throughout the nation. And it's only because all of our communities come together and put a lot of effort into getting more housing opportunities that people have, or more people have, a home that they can go to every day. And so within the Issaquah community, it also takes a village. And I want to thank a lot of our staff, Jen Davis-Hayes in Economic Development, Monica Negrilla and Hannah Roberts in Human Services, Minnie Dollywall, Kristen Leeson, and Valerie Porter in Community Planning and Development. I'm honored to work with these brilliant individuals to find more opportunities for housing, and it's only with a lot of our efforts together that we can pull that and achieve our city goals for affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Stephen. And yes, we are at number 11 of 11. Thank you, Councilmember Martz, for presenting the Police Week proclamation.
Yes, and I'd like to invite Chief Schwan to join me at the dais. Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the City of Issaquah play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our community members, and whereas our police department serves the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation, and whereas our police department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, the City of Issaquah does hereby proclaim the week of May 12th to the 18th to be Police Week in the City of Issaquah, and I invite the community to join me in thanking the Issaquah Police Department for their service and outstanding contributions. Chief.
Thank you again, Council, Madam Mayor, City Administrator Bobkowitz. I've been chief for almost 3 years here now, and one of the reasons I stay is because of the people like Director Johnson had mentioned. The support that the city gives is greatly appreciated on a daily basis, And the people, the men and women that work here in our department are dedicated to the community, and none of them reside here. Yet they come here every day to support the 40,000 people that reside here in the evening and all the people that also work and play here. And so they were all, I have 3 that were going to be here tonight to even help the recognition, but they're out doing their jobs with an unruly customer, as well as a lot of calls for service. So I appreciate them, and I accept this on behalf of them, and I can't say thank you enough for all our staff and the great work and professionalism that they take on every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Moritz and Chief, and all of the council members who helped provide the proclamations this evening. If people want to know what local government does, you covered about 6 of the bases here tonight. Not all of them, but 6. So great work. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to audience comments, which is the time members of the public may address council at this time in person or virtually. Also, anybody who's here for proclamations and would like to leave is free to leave whenever you want to leave. Just want to make sure you don't feel like you're trapped. Those who signed up in advance for public comments will be called on first. If you are joining us virtually and would like to make comments, please raise your virtual hand or send the host a chat. If you're on the phone, press *3. If you have joined by computer or smartphone, look for a hand icon. And if you're not in the room and did not sign up, I will still ask for other speakers before closing this portion of the meeting. Clerk, has anyone signed up to speak for general audience comments or indicated a desire this evening?
Yes.
Thank you. So if you are making comments, please, you are invited to address the council regarding matters that are directly related to Issaquah's programs, projects, services, or events. Comments related to political campaigns are not permitted. Please direct comments to the whole council and not individuals. While this is not a question and answer session, we will contact you to follow up if needed. When recognized, unmute your microphone for virtual attendees or step up to the lectern in the center of our room if you're in person. State your name, address, and relationship to the city. Please speak clearly and pause frequently, and limit your comments to 5 minutes. If you are attending virtually and you do not respond after your name or phone number is called, or if your connection is lost unexpectedly, the meeting will need to proceed. You're encouraged to rejoin the meeting if you're able. Personal attacks, obscene language, derogatory remarks, and disruptive behavior will not be permitted. Public comments, written and verbal, are an important aspect of the public process, and the city takes comments seriously. We thank everyone who takes the time to address us this evening. City Clerk, can you please identify the first person who signed up to speak?
Yes, Paul Quinn.
Great. Paul, if you want to come up and hit the button in the center of the microphone.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Paul Quinn and I live in Sammamish. I'm speaking to you as an individual that cares about recycling and composting and reducing what we send to the landfill. Let's start with that reminder you've heard from me before. A King County survey of trash sent to the landfill showed that 2/3 of what is sent to the landfill can be either recycled or composted. So 2/3 of our trash is actually not trash. I provided you 3 handouts. The first handout reflects disposal numbers updated now with year-to-date, just January. I will note with other East Side cities, by May 6th, I would typically have a full quarter of 2024 to share with you. For some reason, Recology has not yet provided Issaquah numbers beyond January. That probably should be corrected. When I speak of diversion rates, that means the percent of disposed tonnage diverted away from the landfill and to recycling and food scraps composting. As you can see in Table 3 here, our diversion rate is down in January versus last January. And as important, probably more important, Issaquah's Climate Action Plan dashboard shows the city's diversion rate has gotten only worse since 2017. The city needs a new approach to improve diversion, and tonight I have a proposal that will do just that. King County is offering grants right now for innovative recycling and composting projects. I have provided you with a handout for a grant proposal to provide, it's already completed, to provide smart disposal to the city of Issaquah. I need a city partner to apply for this grant with me, and then we can provide single-family residents with direct personal feedback and education based on their own disposal habits. I will run the project, and the grant will cover the entire cost of the project. So let me tell you what smart disposal is. Smart disposal weighs each container emptied by the hauler for each single-family home. This system, through a postcard mailed back to each resident, will provide data specific to their address, including a landfill diversion rate per pickup and a trend line for their results over time. It will also provide a comparison to a group of neighbors so they'll be able to see how they compare to their neighbors. I provided an example postcard as a separate handout, which shows what they'll receive. This system helps us move from a toss and forget mindset towards making better choices. We all know that feedback through measurement works because our water, our electricity, and gas are all metered, helping us to moderate our use. Smart disposal effectively meters our actual use of the disposal utility. During the pilot, the city will bear no cost. It seems worth repeating, as the grant request covers all costs to conduct the pilot. The city of Issaquah and its hauler will be my partners on this project. I've provided the completed grant application, and all I need is a city to agree to be my partner. This grant partnership request has urgency as the King County grant application must be submitted by May 29th. People in the city of Issaquah want to live sustainably. They need the tools and the leadership of this council to help them increase their rate of recycling and composting. Join me in smart disposal, and let's get our diversion rate moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Paul. City Clerk, is there anyone else signed up to speak this evening?
Mayor, we have one member of the public with us virtually, but they are not indicating a desire to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in, Mr. Quinn, and talking with us about composting proposal. And I just want to remind anybody else that written comments can still be submitted anytime to citycouncil@issaquahwa.gov. The next item of business this evening is the consent calendar, and I do not have any remarks on tonight's consent calendar items. Are there any committee chairs or chair designates? Okay. That does not look like it appears there's anybody who wants to make comments this evening on the consent calendar. So the consent calendar was distributed to council in advance, and if authorized, the items on the consent calendar will be considered together and approved by one motion. Have the payables and payroll been reviewed?
They have.
They have.
Thank you. Does any council member desire to remove any item from the consent calendar and consider it under regular business? Seeing any indication? And is anyone prepared to make a motion?
I move to adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as presented. A little bit of giggle because that was real fast in there, Councilmember Joe, I got to tell you. Okay, so are there any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That carries unanimously. We're going to now move into regular business with the first item this evening being AB 8667, City Hall Northwest surplus property. The action before council this evening is to approve the resolution. The item was last before council at the April 15th council meeting when the public hearing was conducted, and I'd like to invite Administrative Services Manager Jeannie Justice to make a presentation. Welcome, Jeannie.
Good evening, council members. Thank you. Tonight I'm here just to talk with you and bring you to the final step of our surplus process for the City Hall Northwest property by approving the surplus resolution that was provided in your packets. A reminder about the location of City Hall Northwest next to I-90 and 17th Street. Oh, it also shows over on the right-hand side, the location of the sewer that's mentioned in the proposed resolution. Just a summary of the recommendations for the surplus from the administration is to go ahead and consider the property for surplus, to approve the rezone application and the land use change that are underway to match the surrounding central Issaquah zoning and land uses, to dispose of the property, to determine the fair market value by conducting an appraisal following the rezone and land use updates, to list the property on the MLS and negotiate a purchase and sale agreement, and then to use the profits to support other city facility needs, as well to transfer ownership of the 2-inch sewer force main that serves the property as part of that purchase and sale agreement. We did also update the resolution since the public hearing meeting to include surplus of the contents of the building, so it's just clear that we're also doing that at the same time. So we are here tonight to talk about the surplus resolution. The rezone action is tentatively scheduled for kind of the end of June. Comp plan update should happen before the end of the year, and we'll do the appraisal once those two things are done, which would put disposition of the property in early 2025. So the administration's recommendation is to adopt the proposed surplus resolution for the City Hall Northwest property.
Thank you, Jeannie. I'm going to look to council for any questions on this item. Councilmember Martz.
So we've been having conversations recently about future of city facilities, and I'm just wondering if we considered the possibility of this property. Obviously, we didn't want to have it in the configuration that it was in, but is it, you know, for surplusing this, is it possible as we look for where we're going to have facilities and we don't yet know, is it possible that it's premature to be considering disposing of this property?
Jeannie, and maybe city administrator would want to weigh in on this as well, but let's start with Jeannie.
We don't believe so. We've looked not only at the building itself, but at the property. We believe that the building is not worth further investment. I think we've talked about that multiple times here. The location of the property also, I think, is not doable as far as we're concerned, as far as public access is concerned. We also think, quite honestly, that there's a higher, better use for the property with the retail nearby, the newly renovated hotel. So we think it makes sense to move forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Okay. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? Council President?
I move to approve resolution number
2024-14,
declaring certain city-owned real and personal property to be surplus to the needs of the city and providing for disposition of tax parcel 2024069015 located at 1775 12th Avenue Northwest.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz. Is there any council discussion? Councilmember Hall.
Sure, just real quick to say that, you know, we've been considering this for a long time now. I think we're all, well, I'll just speak for myself. I'm confident kind of in our assessment that there really isn't a current use or future opportunity that fits this property, and confident that, you know, in our conclusion that, like you said, too, highest and best use for this property is to surplus it and look for alternatives. So I'm going to support the solutions.
Thank you. Other council comments? I'm not seeing any. I'll reread the motion. The motion is to approve resolution number 2024-14, declaring certain city-owned real and personal property to be surplus to the needs of the city and providing for the disposition of tax parcel 2024069015 located at 1775 12th Avenue Northwest. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Councilmember DeMichelle. All those opposed? That carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Jeannie.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, City Administrator Bobkowitz.
I just want to take a moment. This is a fairly significant action by the council. This building has been in disrepair for a long time. It was in disrepair prior to the pandemic. You know, your city staff really knuckled down to figure out a way to make city operations work once we decided not to go back into the building. probably the biggest unsung piece of this was we were confronted with the entire city's history of paper records sitting in there. And we launched, with the leadership of our city clerk and her able staff, probably one of the largest government copy, scan, electronic filing operations, certainly in the state of Washington, perhaps among any city our size. And we will be leaving that building with largely all of our historical records scanned. And I would challenge us to find another city under 50,000 in America that will be able to say that. So I want to thank certainly the work that Autumn and Jeannie did working with the building, but also want to thank the city clerk and her staff for really a monumental project that is now completed and will serve us well, not only in access, in public access for those records, but as we look for future facilities. It is funny because every time we've talked to an architect, the first question is, how much space do you need for record storage? And we are now able to say a very modest amount. So thank you to Tisha, thank you to Jeannie and to Autumn. A major accomplishment for the city, and we appreciate the council and the mayor's leadership.
Thank you, City Administrator. I actually tell every other city that we digitized all our records. I'm extremely proud of the work that our clerk department did. So thank you to our facilities team very, very much. We're going to move to the next item, AB 8791, Central Issaquah Pioneer Program Multifamily Tax Exception. The request before council this evening is to adopt the ordinance. This item was last before council at the April 15th council meeting when the public hearing was conducted. I'd like to invite Jen, who's already up there, our Economic Development Manager, to make a presentation. Thank you, Jen.
Great, thank you. Yes, and I will just make a side note that when I first came to work at City Hall Northwest and saw all the records from the 70s and 80s and 90s in the kitchen, along with all the other locations, you definitely, your jaw drops and go, oh. So it was an amazing task. So, hi, Jen Davis Hayes, City Economic and Housing Development Manager. And we are here tonight for the last step of the Central Issaquah Pioneer Program. And that last step is to consider the adoption of adding this area to our MFTE, Multifamily Tax Exemption Program. As a quick reminder, the Pioneer Program is dedicated to spur redevelopment in Central Issaquah and addresses this area of our housing continuum. And we have been talking about the Pioneer Program and have adjusted it through multiple conversations with City Council, with our Economic Vitality Commission, with our Planning Policy Commission. And thank you for adopting the Pioneer Program in March of this year. And we have now gone forward with the 3 steps that are required to consider adding the multifamily tax exemption. So again, our proposal is to add this Central Issaquah Pioneer Program targeted residential area to our ordinance and provide an 8-year residential property tax exemption for 2 projects in the Pioneer that meet the criteria of the Pioneer Program. And again, we recommend adopting that purpose. And then our next steps would be obviously to continue to work with community planning and development to implement this program, making sure our partners in the affordable housing community are aware of this program, and work with ARCH to do our annual reporting for the MFTE requirements to the state. Is it?
Thank you very much, Jen. I know that's been a lot of work over 18 months or a year. This was really well done. Thank you. Does council have any questions on the presentation? Councilmember Ray.
Thanks. These are a couple of questions that Jen graciously answered for me earlier today, but I wanted to share the results. Yeah. So the first one is, I guess I don't know why I was surprised, but I just wanted to clarify that we're really talking for the Pioneer Program, and this is 2 awards of up to 400 dwelling units each, so a maximum of 800.
Yes, that is correct. Okay. It's up to. Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is, did you look at any other approaches to awarding the Pioneer Program opportunities other than a first come, first served basis?
And so like through our request for proposals or anything like that?
Something that was a little more a little more thoughtful. then the first one in the door is the winner. Because it seems a little like Oklahoma Gold Land Rush.
Yeah. So so we looked at what other pioneer programs in the region did, and a lot of them again were adjustments to code and moved forward. Places like Bothell or some other cities that had land that they were actually trying to redevelop, they would do an RFP, so they had some skin in the game. As you all know, there's not a lot of land that's for sale or looking to redevelop in this area. And so we wouldn't want a property owner to apply for a pioneer program and then sit on it. And I think that's a little bit of when we, in our details of making sure that once you apply, you have a certain amount of time to get your land use and a certain amount of time to go to construction, because this program is meant to spur and just show us in the market what can be done. And if somebody, applies and is very interested, and we love the program because of all the things they promise, but don't move forward on it for 2 to 3 to 4 years, we miss out on that opportunity to utilize this program not only to spur redevelopment in our areas where our amenities are most rich, but also to learn as we also later this year work on a housing analysis. And so that was the approach we took.
And Councilmember Hunt.
If I may, I was just going to add also in committee, we discussed potentially putting some restrictions or saying that one had to be in one zoning area, one had to be in one zoning area or things like that. And ultimately, we believed, like was just said, that there was benefit to not putting those kind of restrictions on, because this way we will see what the market is, and we'll see which kind of projects get built. And so it is trying to spur that development, and so we left it open-ended to allow the market to take whichever shape it would.
I probably should have given you an opportunity to say something from the committee. So thanks for did you want to add anything else from the committee?
Well, the committee has not met on this topic since the last time the full council has seen this item. So thank you for the opportunity, but I think it has been covered. But since we did discuss something related to Councilmember Ray's question, I just wanted to
That's great.
Add that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Martz.
I realize nowadays we present light rather than lots and lots of details the way we used to present. But can you remind us, set up to 800 units of development, how many affordable units would that be at 800?
Yeah, so the council, when they adopted the Pioneer program, added another option to what developers can choose. So they can choose 8% of the units at 60% AMI, or 10% of the units at 80% AMI. So it would be up to the developer's choice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz. Are there any other questions? Council President? I was going to say.
I do.
Okay.
I move to adopt ordinance number
3056.
amending sections 3.09.050, .060, and .120 of the Issaquah Municipal Code regarding the city's multifamily housing property tax exemption program, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any council discussion? Councilmember Hunt.
Great. Well, I am very supportive of this motion this evening. I think we have been considering taking this action for a while now, and it is a step in the right direction. And I was looking back at the history of considering this this program, the multifamily tax exemption program. And we, earlier in 2023, we received a Housing Action Plan implementation grant from the Washington State Department of Commerce. And in that grant, there was analysis done on what specific actions the city should consider taking to have more affordable housing and housing that better meets our community needs. And one of their recommendations was to expand the multifamily tax exemption program. So reading directly from that recommendation report, they had the recommendation, Eco Northwest suggests considering expansion of the MFTE program to address both the delivery of affordable units and market rate feasibility. By expanding the program, the city can encourage more developers to participate, ultimately leading to the creation of more affordable housing units without placing additional burdens on the housing market. And so this was from April 24th, 2023. And we specifically commissioned this work to get this kind of recommendation. And so I'm very happy to be able to support this, taking this action this evening. I do think we will need to continue to look for those deeper levels of affordability opportunities for the 60% AMI affordability, for example. But that said, this does take us in the right direction. And additionally, looking back in both our 2022 housing report card as well as our City of Issaquah Housing Strategy Work Plan from 2017, in those older documents going back all the way to 2017, there is discussion of this city looking at multifamily tax exemption as a way to better meet our needs. And in the Housing Strategy Work Plan from 2017, it talks about how 60% of all households in Issaquah are 1 or 2 person households, and so much of our housing does not adequately meet the needs of our community. So again, very supportive and looking forward to continuing moving in this direction so that we are adding affordable housing that our community really needs.
Thank you. Councilmember Hall, is it okay if I go to Councilmember DiMichele? Councilmember DiMichele.
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you very well.
All right, thank you. So when I was considering this vote this afternoon, I decided to make a list of all of the benefits of supporting this motion. So I'll just list those as quickly as I can. Number one, it will encourage the development of much needed housing, which is a very demonstrated need in our region, both by the Puget Sound Regional Council and King County Affordable Housing Committee. And number two, it will provide affordable housing, which has over and over again been named as one of the top issues for our community in our community surveys. Number three and number four, it will affirm the council's commitment to the Central Issaquah Plan, and it will affirm the council's commitment to bringing a Link Light Rail station to Issaquah. And I've spoken before about the importance of consistent leadership from the council over multiple years and commitment to our long-range vision for this community. Number five, it will set the table for future growth of transit serving Issaquah. Number six, in 8 years, the city will start receiving property tax revenues on significantly improved and more valuable properties. And finally, number seven, it is a relatively small sacrifice when compared to major million-dollar investments of land and cash made by other municipalities and private organizations around affordable housing. So in my opinion, this is just a really important step forward, as Councilmember Hunt said, and I will also be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DiMichele. Councilmember Hall.
Well, thank you. I'm also excited to move forward with this, and all of the points that I listed off have been stolen by the Deputy Council President. So I'll just be quick and say definitely lots of positives to acknowledge here. Spurring development of the Central Issaquah vision that we've set forth, which really is this challenge that's before us over the next 10 to 20 years that we really need to act with some urgency. So I'm glad that we are. I think it's also going to give us some great data as we look forward to our kind of overall MFTE policy moving forward outside of kind of this context with the Pioneer program. I also just want to take a minute to thank staff. We kind of added this to your plate early this year, last minute, and you guys have been so thoughtful about the program, listening very closely to the needs of users, of developers as well, and your commitment to realizing the vision of having dense living located near the services that people need to thrive is great, and I'm going to be supporting this.
Thank you, Councilmember Ray.
I really want to like this idea, but I have some fundamental problems, and it goes back to some conversations I had, I don't know, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whenever I first ran, and it was like, you know what, Issaquah is a pretty darn desirable place to live and to build and to develop. And I just don't, quite honestly, I don't see the need for making this kind of a subsidy to developers to get them to develop in Issaquah. And I don't think it's necessary fundamentally. And then I think when we talk about taxes, we fixate on the tax impact to Issaquah, but it's a tax impact to all the recipients of property tax. And if I look at the full 800 units, that represents about an $8 million subsidy to developers. That, I don't know, I just can't go back to the people I live next to and say, hey, we're gonna pay developers an extra $8 million to develop in this community. So I would say that it's really, I don't know what that note means, but I'm going to move beyond it. So I'm on the affordable housing front. It will put some downward pressure on rental rates, because if we put, 200, 600, 800, whatever new units in, that's, supply and demand really does work and rental rates. But, from a kind of a permanent affordable housing units, at the 80% AMI, it's about $100,000 a unit that we're subsidizing, and at the 60%, it's $125,000 a unit. So I'm not sure that's the best way to generate affordable housing. And then finally, and the reason for my question about first come, first serve is it strikes me that kind of a lack of diligence in how we're going to award a subsidy of, up to $8 million. And I understand that there's this feeling of we got to do it and we got to do it fast, but I really feel like I'd rather do it right than do it fast. And so I feel like we're trying too hard to be too fast to get it done, and we're missing some really important things like, is this where we want to put that kind of subsidy? Is that the right development? Is that the right location? And I have a hard time getting behind it for those reasons.
Thank you, Councilmember Bray. Councilmember Martz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would say that this is probably going to be the hardest vote that I've given in 15 years on the council, because I have run every single time supporting workforce housing, and yet I am going to vote against this evening. I think it's a bad deal. I think that we could have gotten a better deal. I think that if we say that transparency is important to us, the voters are telling us time and time and time again that traffic is hugely important, and the large looming cost of deferred infrastructure, the $300+ million in deferred infrastructure that we have, will only get worse with 800 more potential units in the city. I think this is a fire sale. I think that our original plans were like a 5-to-1 ratio, 5-to-1 market rate units for every unit of affordable. This is going to be 10 or 12-to-1. I don't think that that makes good fiscal sense. I think that we're conflating post-COVID economic situation with the long-term market fundamentals. I've said over and over again that if you look at the last 10 years of our city, the early part of that decade continued to see thriving development in the valley. We cannot simply look at the development since COVID and say that is the base state of development in our city. I think our valley is worth more than this. I think we're selling it cheaply. It's unfortunate, and though I am absolutely steadfast committed to workforce housing, this deal is just so upside down, lopsided economically for our residents, and the impact it's going to have for a vast amount of market rate. I mean, how much time did we spend debating additional residential in the Highlands? And this is a comparable amount of housing that we're just going to quickly adopt for, again, a historically small amount of workforce housing. So regretfully and sadly, but even a word tells you how upset I am that I'm making up adjectives. I am going to vote against this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz. Council President?
Thank you. I am strongly in support of this program. I didn't write down any notes, so I may ramble a little bit here, but last week I went to the Sound Transit 2 line, opening, and it was really amazing to be in communities that have really created transit-oriented development with affordable housing and things like that that bring a community together. I think one of the things that's really important for us to recognize is that while added residents do add to traffic, if they're added in areas where transit is more abundant, that can actually be less of an addition. Also, the current residents of the city are not the only stakeholders in this situation. We do not have the ability to gatekeep our community to additional development. I think it's important to recognize that this additional development on the valley floor was always allowed. Whether or not we provide an MFTE program or not, a private developer has the ability to buy a parcel that has development capacity on it and build it out. What we are facing in this situation is, first of all, a report by a consultant that we brought in that said, hey, you've had this MFT program for a long time. And yes, we were looking to get a 5-to-1 ratio, but nobody built that. You know where they built? They built in Bellevue and Redmond and Kirkland. And where the city of Issaquah has gotten our affordable housing so far has been through development agreements. Where other cities have gotten their affordable housing has been through an MFTE program. And the great thing with an MFTE program is we're not paying for it. We're not giving away land. We're not losing out on, paying a developer directly for something. What we're doing is foregoing revenue, but we're also going to see an increase in tax revenue because of development that comes, because of sales tax that comes from those additional residents. So I think it's really important to understand the full components of this. I also think on a per year, per unit development of these affordable units, this is really cheap. If we were going to build it ourselves, it would cost way more than this. So I'm really hopeful of a development like this, of the benefit that it brings to our community. Earlier we heard Chief Schwan say, we've got a great number of police officers who love the city and work in this city, and none of them can afford to live here. So whether it's market rate development or affordable housing development, I think we have a responsibility to our community to allow that development to happen and allow it to happen on the valley floor where we're planning for development and more transit. So those are my thoughts. Thanks.
I know Councilmember DiMichele has a question, but first round of comments, Councilmember Joe, would you like to do that? And then I'll go to Councilmember DiMichele.
Thank you. I wanted to join the chorus in support of this agenda bill tonight. I think the difficulty that we sometimes have is that we're planning for a future, and a future of people that don't live in our community yet, but would like to live in our community. And how do we provide the housing stock and the supply for them to move to our community if they want to? I'm currently looking for a condo, house, whatever you might call it, and the supply is very, very low, and the prices are very, very high. I don't see how a person that earns 60% or 80% of AMI can necessarily think about moving to our community, either rent or buy, without some of those units that might be available for them. We're planning for the future. We're trying to put down stakes in the flat part of our town, in essence, that will be served by sound transit by 2043, 5, 7, hopefully before I die. But with that in mind, it's always difficult because we can't see the future. We can't know exactly what's going to happen. But we've decided, I think, with this vote tonight, if it is approved, to put down stakes, to put down housing that's affordable near transit so we can increase the walkability of our community, help support our communities, and help support our businesses in the future. So again, I'm in support of this agenda bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Joe. Councilmember DiMichele, we have gone around with comments once. If you would like to start us on round 2, your hand is up.
Thank you, Mayor Polly. Council President Walsh, I think, made many of the points that I was concerned about, but there was a graph, I believe it was in the packet, but not in the presentation that we just saw, which shows the impact of the funds that we are foregoing. I am not understanding the comment about subsidizing to the tune of $100,000 per unit or $125,000 per unit, because we are not subsidizing, we are not providing funds, we are simply foregoing tax income for 8 years. And I was wondering if we could get that graph from the packet up so that people could see what that impact is.
Let me check with Jen. Jen, is that possible? Okay.
Yes, that's the one. It's true that we have a total of $3 million in impact, but that's spread across all of these different government organizations. The city's part of that is 270,000, some with change over 8 years, and which, according to this, is around $33,000 a year. And we all understand that these are estimates, that this is not, this is the best estimate that we have right now. But I just really think it's important to make the note that we are not subsidizing, which I think implies that we are actually giving people money. We are not. We are foregoing revenue. I just wanted to be sure that we clarified that.
Thank you, Councilmember DiMichele. Councilmember Ray?
I respectfully really disagree, because even though we're not giving them money, we are giving them incentives. We are giving them $3 million worth of incentives to build 300 units. So it is an incentive. It is a subsidy. It may not be a direct cash, but they're not doing it because of their goodwill. They're doing it because there's an incentive being given to them, and that's in the form of this MFTE adjustment. And it's not all of our money. It's a very small percentage of ours, but it's the school district, it's the state schools, it's the King County, it's the library, it's EMS, it's all of those things up there. Everybody is giving them a little bit. And so I think it's important to recognize they're not doing this there's a cost to the MFTE. It's not just a foregone revenue. And that's why they're doing it. It's not because of the goodness of their heart. So I just did, fat thumb numbers, but 3 million divided by 300 is $10,000 a unit. 10% of that is $100,000 for affordable housing. So I understand your point, but the reason that they're doing it is because we are subsidizing them. We are incenting them with this tax package. So just want to be clear on my different perspective on the funding than yours.
We have some more comments. I just wanted to let Councilmember Ray know that you're both saying, you're both right in what you're saying. And the for-profit developers have identified the $100,000 to $150,000 funding gap years ago. So it does net out to $100,000 or $100,000 plus per unit. You're just doing it a different way. So you're both right. You disagree on if it's the right, but you're both right. Council President, did you put Councilmember Mertz? Did I see anybody else go around? Okay. So it has been moved and seconded. Just one last time, any more comments before I reread it and call for the vote? And the motion maker, you read something different than what I have in my notes. So I'm wondering if the recommendation changed? pull up packet. Yeah, she read it off the AP. I read it off. Little. Reread. Where is it back? Yeah, I don't remember the. Okay. So it was moved and seconded to adopt an ordinance number
3056.
amending sections 3.09, 0.050, and 0.060 and 0.120 of the Issaquah Municipal Code regarding the city's multifamily housing property tax exemption program, providing for severability and establishing an effective date. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Nay.
That passes 5-2 with Martz and Ray opposed. Just a couple general comments from the mayor. This was a good conversation. I like it when you are all not on the same page. And I am so proud of Issaquah's history of being creative and innovative in trying to use tools to do affordable housing, whether it's a development agreement or jumping on the bandwagon 8 years ago to do transit-oriented development when others weren't really talking about it. And here's another calibrated action that you're taking to see if you can get a certain outcome. So I appreciate your creativity and your willingness to have a conversation like this on camera and talk about what you all think about it. So thank you very much for that. Head back to, thank you, Jen. And the next item of business is committee and regional reports. Councilmember Joe, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Lodging Tax Advisory Committee met on May 2nd. And the important item for council is there was a vote to support the funding initiative for community-based tourism, in parentheses, Destination Stewardship Initiative from the mayor's office. And as many of you know, the mayor has been spurring or initiating a conversation with our different partners in town about how can we have community-based tourism that respects our environment, that highlights the great environmental assets that we have here, while at the same time having an economic development element to it. So the committee approved up to $20,000 to bring back if the funding was needed. There are a number of different grants that the organization will be kind of working with, that the member people will be working on. So it could be as little as zero for us, but we're recommending to the council that should it come back, the mayor will put it into the budget if it's necessary, and the committee has approved up to $20,000 in funding to kind of green light that process. The other announcements concern Cascade Water Alliance. May 1st, we had a Public Affairs Committee meeting. The important element from that was that Cascade Water Alliance will be installing a water fountain at the Issaquah High School and giving out free water bottles that look like this. And it'll be tracking the number of water bottles, the plastic bottles that we save and avert or divert from the landfill. And as part of that environmental aspect of the work that Cascade Water Alliance does. The board meeting for Cascade Water Alliance will be May 22nd. And just a reminder that June 27th will be a lunch event celebrating the 25th anniversary of Cascade Water Alliance. It'll be at Maidenbower in Bellevue. I'm sure you'll all be getting a gilded invitation wrapped in gold soon, but just put it on your calendar, please, as a hold. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Joe. Councilmember Hall.
Thank you. The next meeting of the Eastside Fire and Rescue Board of Directors is this Thursday, May 9th at 4 p.m. at our headquarters on Newport Way Northwest. Nothing really of substance on the agenda, although we are getting our annual report, so we'll be sure to share back the Eastside Fire and Rescue annual report with the rest of the council when we get it. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tomorrow, which is May 7th, there will be a meeting of the Planning, Development, and Environment Committee of this council, and we have one item on the agenda. It is COM 0014, amendments to Title 18 for emergency shelters and supportive housing. This is actions taken in response to the state legislature, which adopted House Bill 1220 in July of 2021, which amended the Growth Management Act to instruct local governments to plan for and accommodate housing affordable to all income levels, and also has specific language around transitional housing or permanent supportive housing. So we will be discussing that. It is the only item, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. The City Council Mobility and Infrastructure Committee will be meeting on May 14th here in Council Chambers at 6:30. It appears that there'll be one item on the agenda, which is the 2025 to 2030 6-year Transportation Improvement Program. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Mertz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee will be meeting this Wednesday, May 8th, from 7 till 9 p.m. online. A few of the items that will be discussing, although no major action is anticipated: King Conservation District rates proposal, boards and committees, alignment, regional alignment on asylee and refugee crisis, Metro Free Youth Transit passes, and PIC operating principles. So a lot this week. Then the Safety Services and Parks Committee will be meeting at a different time this month to accommodate the Community Awards ceremony on the 21st. So Services, Safety, and Parks will be meeting on Tuesday, May 28th, which is still beyond the next full council meeting, but it's such a juicy agenda that I just have to mention. We have at least two things, one of which Court and Criminal Justice Services, and the other Traffic Safety Camera Update, both of which I am eager to tear into. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Deputy Council President DeMichelle.
Thank you, Mayor Pauley. On April the 25th, Eastside Human Services Forum held its first forum of 2024 remotely, and it was on the topic of comprehensive services for refugees and asylum seekers. We had 62 people in attendance for the 1.5-hour panel discussion, which is about double the average number of attendees that we had at our forums last year. So Eastside Human Services Forum continues to recover from the pandemic. Especially nice was the fact that we have participation by elected officials from all of our member jurisdictions. The next forum coming up is May 16th. It is on data collaboration, which does not sound juicy, but in fact, we have 78 people signed up for it. And so I believe you received an invitation today, and if you'd like to join and listen to how data is used and shared in the human services arena, please join us. And then just coming up, we have a Eastside Human Services Board meeting, Eastside Human Services Forum Board meeting this Thursday. Lisa Callan, Representative Callan, will provide us with a legislative wrap-up. We have an Eastside Transportation Partnership meeting this Friday morning with a post-session report from PSRC and Representative Ramos. And then the Regional Transit Committee meeting is Regional Transit Committee is meeting on May the 15th. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Council President. Council President?
Thank you. On Thursday, the Puget Sound Regional Council's Growth Management Policy Board met. We received a bunch of presentations, actually some interesting ones. One was on the racially disparate impacts in housing, which looked at a University of Washington data set on all of the areas, particularly in the suburbs, which had racial covenants on the housing. And there are actually a few in Issaquah. And it's something that we will have to address in our comprehensive plan. So really interesting conversation there. We heard about the transfer of development rights, technical assistance opportunity, and industrial lands analysis, and then kind of the initial conversations on the regional transportation plan for 2026 to 2050. and the development process of that. And then the King County Affordable Housing Committee also met on Thursday. And so Affordable Housing Committee this year is all about the comprehensive plan process, because this is the first year that cities with their housing chapter are going to have to present them and have them reviewed. So we actually got our first sets from Maple Valley and Algona, which is a city of only 3,400 population. So it was really interesting to hear from these smaller towns about how their situation has been in working with King County staff who did the review of these plans. Really great interaction, collaboration, but the King County staff is pretty good at pushing back and saying, hey, we appreciate that you did this part, but that doesn't really address the needs in that area. So I'm looking forward to, as our plan comes through later this year, how we are able to address all of the needs in the countywide planning policies. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Council President. The next item is the mayor's report. First, there will not be an executive session this evening. This month, Governor Inslee has proclaimed May 2024 as Therapeutic Court Month in Washington State. Amidst a rising fentanyl epidemic, increasing fatal overdose rates, and an ongoing mental health crisis, therapeutic courts are an important part of our community. These courts offer more than just treatment options. They provide structured hearings, support, case management, resources, and accountability. With the upstream rise of substance abuse, I would like to thank our court staff for their hard work and the significant impact that they are making in our community. I'd also like to highlight that on tonight's consent calendar, the City Council accepted the completion of the SPAR, the South Plateau Access Road Booster Pump Station construction project. This large capital project, which the city began planning over a decade ago, has increased the reliability and redundancy to supply water to the Issaquah Highlands. The project consisted of constructing a new concrete masonry building, vertical turbine water booster pumps, piping, valves and accessories, electrical and instrumentation systems, site grading and paving, fencing, and miscellaneous site improvements, and 7,735 lineal feet of 12-inch water main piping. I'm proud of the multi-year effort of our staff put into making sure that this development of critical infrastructure was completed for the reliable delivery of vital water. Issaquah, I think you've heard a little bit about the Community Awards ceremony, but I'll just add on. Issaquah will soon present its Honored Hall of Fame Award. Each year, the mayor and council president select a person to induct into the Issaquah Hall of Fame for their exemplary record of inspiration, leadership, and service. So please join us as we honor the recipient at the Chamber of Commerce's annual Issaquah Community Awards event on May 21st. Registration is required, and you can learn more about this on the Issaquah Chamber of Commerce website. Big excitement this weekend, the farmers market returned. So starting this month through September, you can come join us at Pickering Barn and help support our local farmers. Our 2024 season will again offer a variety of farm and food-based products, on-site concessions, and local artisans. Farmers markets can be important for communities, both socially and economically, and ours is one of the finest in the region. Every Saturday, you can meet local farmers, learn about food grown here in our area, and catch up with friends and neighbors. So for more information, please visit www.issaquahwa.gov. And a couple of events that are coming up. Bike Everywhere Day is coming up on Friday, May 17th. To build a network of support and fun for thousands of cyclists on Bike Everywhere Day, the city, along with the cities of Sammamish and Redmond and the Cascade Bicycle Club and local partners, are hosting dozens of celebration stations along major bike routes in the region. And there is more information on our website. And lastly, Friends of Lake Sammamish State Park is excited to host our 8th annual Walk and Wag event, the largest dog party on the east side. This year will be a fun event for the whole family with a 3K walk, doggy village with vendors and activities, performances by Seattle's Fly Dogs, and Rainier Agility. The Banner Bank, pet show, food banks, music with Warm 106.9, and more. We can't wait to see all these wonderful dogs and their friends and families at Walk and Wag. And again, on our website, there's additional information. Next item of business this evening is good of the order. Does any council member have anything for good of the order this evening? Councilmember Joe.
Thank you. I wanted to point out that our Deputy City Administrator, Andrea Snyder, has been named one of the top 100 influencers in local government by engaging local government leaders. I wanted to see if our City Administrator wanted to add any additional comments. It's a national recognition as one of the top 100 people, not just the state of Washington. So it's really a great award for her. Also, I know the mayor probably wants to wait to announce this one for next meeting, but the Public Works Department is having their tour on the 22nd, and I know my son is interested in going through water vaults, and he wants to know about traffic light timing. We talked about that when we were fishing yesterday. Yesterday, and how the synchronization gets thrown off by police officers going through the intersection with their sirens. So I'm going to try to take him to this. It's May 22nd, 4 to 6:30 p.m. in our Public Works Building, 670 First Avenue Northeast, and there's information on our website. But I think it's a real great opportunity for Public Works to show the great work that they do in our city. Thank you.
So fun. Anyone else for good of the order? The last thing I'll do is talk about a couple of upcoming meetings. The May 13th Committee of the Whole, the anticipated agenda items include facilities next steps and revenue options, 2023 year-end report, and the Q1 2024 financial report, wildfire, wildland, urban interface, the code update and mitigation efforts, and the next regular City Council meeting is May 20th. There is no executive session this evening, and there being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:43.